Hey everybody, this is Jeremy and Jonathan here.
Hello.
Jonathan, say hey.
Hey,
Oh, you did that.
quack.
Okay, cool.
What else you want me to say?
Anyways,
Arg.
you might find yourself in October, maybe November of 2024 right now, listening to this.
I hope
you're like,
October.
Well, definitely. Well, it just depends on when you get to our show. I
Oh,
was
right,
being
right, right.
courteous. Hold up. Pirate Month was only 2 weeks, which you might not even be thinking of anything different because we only post twice a month if we're lucky. But uh but
We did have
fully
plans.
intended to have 4 episodes out for Pirate Month. We're going to do a weekly show, and like all good things, we blame it on the weather.
Mm-hmm.
We had a couple scheduling conflicts, and then we also had a couple hurricanes come in effect. Not us personally, but we had some family come and evacuate, and we had some friends that we wanted to check up on.
We're all good. It's just
Everything's great,
it got in the way of recording our podcast as
right?
per usual.
As per usual. But family first on this pod, and we always know that.
What's second?
But yeah, second is safety,
Third?
buddy system. Anyways, basically we're gonna just hold off since we never even recorded them because of the scheduling conflicts, and one of our guests lives in Florida, and we want to make sure they were fine in the hurricane. And as we speak right now, there's another one coming straight for them. So keep them in your prayers. And yeah, we're all good. Everything's good.
Yeah.
But we'll probably just go ahead and just wait till next year to work on those.
Yeah, I think we decided
for next Pirate Month.
We don't want to lose any more momentum. Let's just keep on keeping on. And we will cover those pirate movies eventually.
If you need a pirate movie between now and then, just let us know. Maybe we'll throw one in earlier next year. But we'll try and get some piratisms in next year. But yeah, we didn't want to get behind in October. So we've got a lot planned for the rest of the year. So
yeah, we got some good fall movies, some spooky movies, some Christmas movies. We don't want to miss out because we always get to the holidays and then we don't do what we say we're going to do.
That's our focus this year.
And it's already started early here with September. So
yeah,
I don't know.
So we're putting the blinders on. Everybody's already fast forwarded to the episode already, but yeah, there we go.
All right.
Enjoy the show. Hello and welcome back to Inside Quotes, the show where my brother and I rewatch, review, and relive the staples of our childhood. And I'm your host, Jeremy, and with me today is my older brother, Jonathan. Jonathan, welcome back to the show.
Quack, quack, everybody. It's great to be back on the show. Today's episode is going to be a Patreon pick of the month because special guest with us today, Kaleb Keenan. Welcome to the show.
Well, Jonathan, I'm very proud of Baby Steps and enormously gratified by its success. I think the greatest challenge, aside from the writing, is finding ways to make the ideas within it accessible to laymen as well as my colleagues.
Anyways, so Jeremy... No.
I meant to say thank you. I'm happy to be here.
All right, well, today we are covering the Patreon pick of the month. What About Bob? And Jonathan, What year did this come out?
1991.
Ooh, where were you in 1991?
I wasn't born.
Kaleb, where were you in 1991?
Also not born.
What?
-1.
Yeah, that's right. We may be old, but we're not as old as this movie.
Wow.
That's right.
Just barely.
Kaleb, why did you choose this movie?
Yeah, you reached out to me. You're like, I want to be on the show again. Because I remember what you said. You're trying to go for Bryce Bridgman's record of appearances on the show.
I am.
So I know, you're in town actually this week, visiting Bowling Green, Kentucky. You're like, when I'm up here, I want to talk about What About Bob?
And he pays to be here, so.
That's right. I sure do. Yeah, and last time I was up here, we tried to record together. It didn't work out. And so we're doing it this time. We're together.
You pick difficult movies to watch, I will say. Last time you couldn't even rent it.
I know.
Or anything. We had to buy the physical DVD
I forgot.
to watch
I
it.
forgot we didn't record in person.
One thing I was going to mention about that is, remember the petition that we made to get Angels in the Outfield added to Disney Plus?
Yes.
Well,
and Corey in the House.
It worked. It is now available on Disney Plus.
I saw that.
Our work paid off, and it's there now. We can watch it.
It's us, and thanks to you listeners for signing that petition.
That's right.
We know you did.
Exactly.
We know you did. And yeah, What About Bob? I had to watch the DVD because it's not streaming anywhere. You can rent it.
I rented it.
Did you rent it?
$3.79.
How was that?
It was fine.
Yeah.
I mean, Caleb paid for it pretty much because he's a member for $3 a month on Patreon.
Yes, I am. Absolutely. I also rented it because I don't have the DVD, but so it's on YouTube. So
yeah.
Caleb, was this one of the few movies you watched growing up? I have a feeling it was.
Yeah, it was.
Would you consider this a staple of your childhood?
I do. I do consider it a
How
staple.
stapley would you consider this to be?
If you were to get a stapler and look at all the staples in it, it would be the first one. No, it would probably be the second one. Or the third one, maybe. I'm not sure.
I've never thought about it like that.
In order.
Which staple is this in your row of staples? In your
Yeah.
pack of 250 staples?
Yeah, because they come in that little.
Yeah.
I don't know. They're stuck together.
Yeah.
The staples are.
And some of them get like
put in
bent
the
up.
staple.
I always loved breaking those apart.
Yeah.
I was probably an evil little kid. Oh man.
I mean, this is Cool Runnings was the movie that me and Johnny talked about the most, quoted the most. But What About Bob was probably the only other one that I feel like we did quote to each other somewhat.
Since your last time
that we talked about.
These were the two, yeah. Angels in the Outfield. We didn't really quote that one.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And so, I mean, that's probably the main reason I thought we should do it.
Yeah.
Because I like the movie.
It's a great movie.
I forgot about this movie for a long. Like, I don't remember half of it, but I watched it and I loved it. It was weird though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot shorter than I remember it being. I mean, it was like an hour and a half, maybe.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess when you're younger, things seem longer. I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
But it would. I mean, I watched it like 1.5 times. I meant to watch it twice, but
Very thorough.
When I got halfway through the second one and I had to go to bed. I was falling asleep. So
Not because of the movie. It was just late.
no, it was because I was watching with subtitles.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
That's the way to
you're
do
reading.
it.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it.
A little reading before bedtime.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to remember the first time I saw this, and I don't know if you like told me about it, and then I went and sought it out. I don't think we watched it together or anything, but I do recall getting this at like the Walmart $5 bin, having not ever seen it, just being like, "Oh, Bill Murray looks funny." I don't know. It's got this weird like silhouette on the front, like on the DVD cover. And yeah, it was just like a random one. It looked good, looked funny, and I watched it, and I was like, okay, that was pretty good. Pretty good for a $5 Walmart movie.
Does a $5
totally agree.
Walmart bin
Yeah.
still exist?
I think it does actually.
Really?
It might be inflated now to the like $7.75.
Maybe.
bin.
$7.50 bin. Ugh.
At a certain point, they're just got to get rid of the old supply.
Yeah.
That's right.
But do you remember the first time you saw this movie?
I don't think I do. I was trying to think about that for this podcast, and it was, even though it's a little bit older movie than, the other two that I've been on here for, Cool Runnings and The Angels in the Outfield, it's a couple years older than those, but I remember Angels in the Outfield and Cool Runnings we had on VHS.
Mm-hmm.
But What About Bob we had on DVD, which
That's a game changer
got it
sometimes.
later. We got it later at some point.
Yeah.
So to me, it was a kind of a newer movie, even though it was actually older, I guess. But yeah, I don't remember how we got it. I don't remember when we got it or why. It doesn't seem like a movie that anybody in my family would be like, let's go buy this.
Yeah.
Especially my parents. And I don't really know how I got any of the movies that we had, really. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
They just showed up.
They did. Somehow.
This would have been an okay one to watch on VHS, though, because this movie has no special features on the DVD.
Oh, really?
It's one of those that's just like,
Nothing.
you got play, scene selection, languages.
For
That's
some of
it,
it,
you
it
know?
felt like there wasn't much of a script either.
Yeah. Yes, that's right.
But yeah. Jeremy, do you remember first time seeing this movie?
No.
Probably just I had it and watched it
Yeah,
together.
I think
probably.
we watched it together our first time. And I remember it being very
Just
funny.
like Bill Murray, the guy from Space Jam. Right?
Yeah. And I was like, Bill Murray, the guy from Garfield. So, and it's definitely weird knowing, since we just recently covered Garfield this year,
Mm-hmm.
that's his voice. Like, I don't necessarily pair Bill Murray's voice with his face because that movie's so iconic for me. So I was just like, this is Garfield. Like, they
So
could
you're just
replace
picturing
Bob.
Garfield
They could replace Bob
as
with
Bob.
Garfield, and it would be no different. It'd just be a vet instead of a psychologist.
I can hear Garfield just saying, Kimmy, I
Kimmy,
need lasagna.
But yeah. What's the budget on this? Because I feel like they blew it all on the blowing up the house.
I didn't look up the budget. Yeah, the house, I did read that they built like a 3/4 scale model,
Oh.
and that's what they blew up.
Oh.
But yeah.
So it wasn't
3/4 scale
a
is
real
pretty
house.
big, though. But
You
yeah,
might as well
yeah.
make it a small scale.
Yeah.
What's the point? You going 75% of the way?
Yeah.
Maybe save a couple $100. Let me just put it this way. I have problems.
To put it simply.
That's funny because I was thinking about what is his problem. Like, what's wrong with him? What's his diagnosis? What? And I think they talk about it a little bit in the movie, but I was just trying to watch the movie and
He just
write
has
down
everything.
what I thought was like what I thought was wrong with him. He called him whenever he was doing after their first meeting. He got his little tape
Recorded
recorder
it.
out,
Yeah.
and he was like, he is a multiphobic personality characterized by acute separation anxiety.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I don't know what that means. So I was like, let me just put it in Google. And
He's
see what
scared of a lot of things, and especially being separated.
Yeah, right.
And
And
said
so,
something about seeking family connection, too.
yeah.
Their line's the
yes.
whole movie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's funny that at the end of the movie, he basically just took
Cures
his
all
spot
of it.
in this family.
Yeah. He
really did.
Took Dr. Marvin's spot in the family.
They kind of changed their insanity, swapped it out. It was
Yeah.
like Freaky Friday.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But he looked like he had a fear of getting sick, which I looked up was called nossophobia.
Nossophobia.
He has a fear of germs, it seemed like to me, which was mysophobia. It seemed
Not
like
germophobia?
I know, that's what I was thinking.
Interesting.
I was like, because I was thinking, oh, he's a germaphobe, because that's what people say.
Yeah.
But I don't know if
Yeah.
I guess that's not the technical term for it.
Huh.
And maybe it is, and I just was led astray by Google. It seemed like he had OCD.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely, and it was funny that whenever his old psychiatrist called him,
Yeah.
he's like, he's not psychotic, easy. And then he like grabbed the phone. He's like, no, which makes me think he was psychotic.
Oh, yeah.
But when I typed in that spiel that he said, it came up with, like, Google AI came up with DPD, which is dependent personality disorder, and SAD, which is separation anxiety disorder.
Okay.
So, yeah, it seemed like he had a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah,
but
he did.
he
A
had
lot of it-
problems.
yeah.
He has problems.
Basically.
Just put it simply, he had problems, and I thought it was really funny because after a while, I guess near the end of the movie, when he was checking him or he was on the phone or something, and he was saying he's clearly a textbook narcissist.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
textbook narcissism here, and he didn't have that. It was just
Yeah.
the doctor's narcissism that was
Yes.
getting to him.
Yeah, 100%.
He couldn't handle the attention being on someone else in his family.
Well, I think it's because it wasn't somebody else in his family. It was some random
Yeah.
patient that was following his family around.
Yeah, I mean okay. Honestly, this whole movie could be re-edited into a horror movie.
Did you see
Instantly.
that video on YouTube?
I think there
No,
is
I was gonna say there's got to be a
there is.
YouTube video.
there's a
There's one I
recut
Okay.
trailer. Yeah.
Put that in the link.
It's been a while
Yeah.
since I watched it, but I have seen
I
that.
really
Yeah.
want to watch that
Mhm.
because even if it wasn't funny, it could easily be
Yeah.
like not just in the. You could just recut the whole movie to be like that.
Mhm.
It doesn't have to be
Mhm.
a trailer.
Say more about problems. Well, experiencing
What problems
Dizziness.
do you have, Caleb?
dizziness, nausea, cold sweats, hot sweats, dead hands,
Dead-
numb lips, fingernail sensitivity.
My lips are getting warm, actually.
Oh man, he's.
You didn't mention Tourette's a minute ago, but that's because
Oh,
You ever
yeah,
heard
Tourette's.
of Tourette's?
He doesn't have it.
It's a rare disorder.
If I fake it, then I don't have it. That's what Bob said. So
I-
he doesn't have it. I know he doesn't have
That's
that.
the
I
the
wrote
life
that.
He
you
likes
need
to
to
pretend
live.
he has it though.
those are just the types of mind games you have to play with yourself, to
Yeah.
to just get through life sometimes.
The Tourette's thing was funny because that's something that I remember specifically talking to you about
Yeah.
whenever we
Yeah.
were kids. And again, I think I've said it before, we had TV Guardian,
Mm-hmm.
so I did not hear any of the things that they yelled at each other whenever they were
Yeah.
jumping up and down on the beds and stuff. So I never
Jonathan's
heard that
gonna
when I
go
was a
ahead and
kid.
say those right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, go ahead. We can just do some beeps.
Yeah. Here's a clip.
But I remember specifically. I don't,
Just put that in.
I don't know if it's because I read it whenever TV Guardian would, pause the sound and write nicer things on there, or if maybe I did hear it one time and I thought that's what he said. But I remember you saying we were watching. I think we did watch it one time, and you were like getting nervous when that scene was coming up.
Because you were at
And
your
'cause-
house.
Yeah, and I was like, oh no, it's okay. He just said poop for brains.
Poop for brains.
But you're like
Bananas.
Johnny's like, that's not what he said.
Did we get in trouble for that when that scene came on? Or
I don't really ever remember watching this with our
okay.
parents or anything.
But
Yeah.
obviously, if we were playing it in the living room and that was going on, they'd be like, "Hey, what are y'all watching?" I feel like we had.
There's a few times
It was
like that.
somewhat relaxed though with movies, though. We didn't really have to have.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they didn't shelter everything, but
Mhm.
we got sick of our TV Guardian after a while because it wasn't working properly,
Yeah.
or it was working too well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man. Maybe you're just watching bad movies.
Well, we pretty much just watched Monk back then, which what reminds me of this.
Okay.
This guy kind of reminds me of Monk, and it made me want to watch Monk because it's very
Mm-hmm.
funny and like he's an insomniac. No,
He
hypochondriac. Hypochondriac.
Mhm.
He's pretty much a hypochondriac.
Monk has OCD.
Yes,
too.
but he's
Yeah.
also a hypochondriac.
Yeah. It's kind of similar,
Very similar,
but not the separation anxiety part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Anyways, baby steps to the police department.
Yeah.
Baby steps to the murder scene. Yeah, that's the one thing I really take. Like the quote that I take is just saying baby steps before everything.
Mhm.
It's really good. Yeah, I can do anything now. Please, I need you so bad. You got yourself here, didn't you? Barely.
So good.
I know that, Betty.
Oh man,
He
Betty. I like Betty.
So you're Betty, huh?
Dude, he was so charming with everybody else in public.
Yeah.
He was faking it, but it was like
Yeah.
he's a normal person. He just talks to everybody with complete riz. He had so much.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay, so that's an interesting question because you kind of brought it up, like, oh, what does he have? And it's like,
yeah.
I don't know. Is he like?
Is he actually faking all of it? Because he seemed like he could charm people and convince people and I don't know, manipulate people.
Did
take over someone's family?
It's this weird thing. Did Dr. Leo actually help him, or was this just a scheme to get the family?
Is this some sort of death therapy? I see what you're doing. He was a golden retriever this whole movie.
Mm-hmm.
Just like constantly loving the doctor that hates him.
Yeah.
Yes.
The whole time I'm watching this movie is like, I just relate to the Richard Dreyfus character, like the whole time. Like, because I'm just
is
like.
Richard Dreyfus in anything? Because I know that name.
He's in a ton of stuff.
Oh, well.
Does that answer your question?
Yes. I've never seen a ton
He
of
was
stuff.
in Jaws.
He was in Jaws.
He was in Jaws. He was in Close Encounters. He was in Mr. Holland's Opus, playing Mr. Holland.
Oh.
He's in a lot.
How old is he?
I mean, he's old now. I just feel like the whole thing is like, yeah, Bob is definitely like, the movie puts you like in his shoes and wants you to side with him, like he's the hero. But he's totally like crossing boundaries the whole time, and
Absolutely.
he tells
I'm just
him
dropping
the whole
in.
time.
I'm on vacation.
He's just he pretends like, or he makes it seem like he committed suicide so that he can
he faked his own
so
death.
that he can get his address so that he can go. Like, this is crazy. There is something wrong here, something mental going on there.
Whoa.
But it's just so funny how the movie progresses and Dr. Leo Marvin's patience just grows thin and they just switch places by the end and they're just like crazy.
Did you know that Robin Williams was the first choice for the role of Bob Wiley?
I did not know that. I knew that
I don't know if that would have been good.
The son that was in this was in Hook. Though.
Oh, yeah?
So I was thinking about that. Sigmund, he was like, he got to work with
Siggy.
He got to work with Bill Murray and Robin Williams as a kid, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
That's sort of a narcissistic thing to name your son. Like,
for sure.
Oh, Sigmund? Like Sigmund Freud? Is your dad like a psychologist? Yeah.
Yes, actually.
Psychiatrist? Oh, yeah. That guy in Jaws. He looks completely different in Jaws.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Interesting.
No, he's an actor that has a lot of range. He plays a lot of different characters and stuff. He's pretty good. And I will say, like, yes, the movie is like, it wants you to side with Bob and Bill Murray, but the movie doesn't work without Richard Dreyfus. Like, it's those two hating each other.
Yeah. Which
that works.
I'm pretty sure they hated each other in real life too.
No.
Yeah.
I mean,
spill the tea. Like, get
no,
this
I
beef.
just mean,
Oust this beef.
I don't know. I watched a couple of videos, and one was of Richard Dreyfus talking about this movie, and he said Bill Murray was the worst, and he said he threw something at him one time because he was
like an
mad
ashtray.
at it.
Or
Yeah, I was thinking of that.
Ew.
No, like they legit like were feuding on this movie.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
As it went on, it got like
as
really
like a
bad.
method way or just
Well,
in real
No,
life?
I think it was real. I don't know.
Yeah,
Well, that must have added to it.
So
yeah, that makes it a real product on screen. They actually ate each other.
Yeah,
He's like, he really thought he was gonna kill him.
I think they just naturally like, it was like oil and water. They like did not get
That
along,
makes
and
sense.
so
Butted heads.
but like the director, who is actually Frank Oz,
Yeah.
he said that he kind of like
Wait, Frank Oz.
Frank
What?
Oz,
Yeah, like
Miss
Yoda?
Piggy,
Oh.
Yoda directed
Miss
Oh,
this
is
Piggy
Miss
and
Piggy too?
Yoda.
Yeah,
Oh, I knew he was Yoda. I didn't
Any
know he was
Muppet, really.
yeah.
A third of the Muppets.
Fozzie Bear directed this movie. Yes.
Nice.
After he did the Muppets, he kind of transitioned into like a film directing role. So he did like Little Shop of Horrors and
This is cool.
yeah, stuff like What About Bob? A lot of comedies and stuff. But anyway, he said he kind of like he saw it going on and he kind of allowed it, like as
It
a
only
way
helps his
as a
movie.
way to like help the performance a little bit. But he did feel like maybe I should have stepped in a little bit.
So it wasn't like a Donald Glover and Chevy Chase on Community.
No,
feud.
it was probably like that.
It
I think they had
was?
to be like physically separated at times.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. How do you make a movie like that?
That's scary.
Yeah. And then just like thinking about that, especially as the movie goes on, like you just see the scene where like they're doing like the news interview at the end of the movie and he's just like frozen up and Bill Murray's taking all the attention and you can just tell like Richard Dreyfus is like hating him for it in real life too.
Oh man.
Yeah, I didn't notice until I watched it this time that they, at one point, they stand up during that interview. I think it's when their family comes in and they leave.
Yeah.
Because he calls the family in and they go out. And then Bob sits down in Dr. Marvin's seat,
Yeah.
which is the front seat, and he has to sit behind him. And
Yeah.
like, curled up like this. It was. Oh man.
Have you guys ever wanted to go on a vacation to Lake Winnipesaukee?
Kinda.
Ooh.
If
it a
I'm gonna
real
be
place?
honest, if I'm gonna
Labor Day?
Labor Day, is that in New York, like upstate?
It's
said-
New Hampshire.
New Hampshire. Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. New Hampshire.
Okay.
Of course.
Of course.
Yeah, I felt like I always thought this movie took place in Maine because
Yeah.
of the scene where he's like on the phone with him and he's trying to get him to like reveal where he's at. And he's
Yeah.
like, trying to keep Maine all to yourself.
Hey, you're in Martha's Vineyard, right?
Yeah.
And then, and he's like, "Oh, what was the other?" Oh, and he says, "Bob, I'll talk to you as soon as I get home from vacation at my office after Labor Day." And he says, "Right after you get back from Fire Island, right?" And then he says the main thing at the end.
Yeah.
Trying to guess what it is.
I'd say, out of all the summer vacation, like Labor Day vacation vibe, like old-ish, not old-ish, but of all like the lake house vacation movies, I'd rather stay at the lake house from Cheaper by the Dozen too.
Yeah.
That's more of a lake house community vibe.
A little more fun.
There's
And the house doesn't blow up at the
that's
end.
so true. There's just a rat that steals everything,
And there's not a mentally ill man following you around.
Mhm.
and a vengeful old couple in a boat watching you at all times.
The Gutmans.
The Gutmans.
Staying at the Gutmans. When I told them I was up here, what I was up
They
here for,
insisted.
they insisted.
She never says that. She really never says that.
This movie reminded me of a specific summer vacation that me and you went on, Johnny.
Oh yeah.
You remember?
Was
It wasn't a
Was this
really
on the,
vacation.
on the way to camp?
Yeah, it was on the way.
Yeah.
There was a few things that happened that we talked about a
Yeah.
lot for the rest of our lives, basically.
Those are some good stories.
But I guess the thing that we say the most was from when we were at Wendy's. We stopped. I think it was 4th of July because there was fireworks, and we stopped at Wendy's to eat, and there was fireworks, and we went outside. We're watching these fireworks, and there was some other family that was also out there watching fireworks.
Yeah.
And Johnny had just we were carpooling to camp, so he was with my family driving up there.
Yeah. In North
to North
Carolina.
Carolina, yeah. And I don't remember anything about the conversation or this kid who talked to us. I just remember what he said, which he was telling us a story, and at one point in the story, he said, "And then my sister fell in the hole." And then he continued his story,
Yeah.
and then later on in the story, he said, "And then my sister fell in the hole again." And me and Johnny said that all the time to each other. And then my sister fell in the hole.
It was like the punchline, and we
Yeah.
didn't. We were like bored by the story.
Yeah.
And,
We didn't know what was going on. Yeah, he thought it was a great story.
yeah.
That's why he was telling it to
That,
us.
that
Guess
was
you got to be there.
that was the
in the
delivery.
hole.
That was the delivery. It was like it was so funny to him, and we're like, "What?"
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh man. Okay, so side note, he's talking about the Gutmans, the New Hampshire couple that was vengeful, and they're like, they stole our house from us and stuff. Like, I have recently this week reopened a vault in my memory by watching Liberty Kids. on YouTube, the PBS show. You remember that?
I don't know what this is. What is Liberty?
It's like literally it's these 3 kids in the American Revolution, and they're journalists under Ben Franklin's newspaper, and they're literally at every important event, like conveniently in history. So they're just like interviewing people and stuff like that. It's really good. And they just did an episode. Well, they didn't just do. They did it like years ago.
New episode.
2007. They did it an episode on the Green Mountain Boys. And if you're not familiar with the Green Mountain Boys, here's the history lesson for the day. Anyways, it's like a militia that took on before. It was like 1770. They took on their own army, basically, before it was when Patriots were a little wild. They're still tar and feathering and a little bit
getting belligerent.
Unauthorized, getting a little belligerent in the militias. Anyways, there's an episode there where they meet up with the Green Mountain Boys, and they're about to. One of the governors of New York was like living in the New Hampshire Grants, which is like some house. Anyways, they kicked out one of the governor's people that just took over someone's house. And then one of the journalist kids was like, why would we burn down this house? Why don't we just give it to the previous owner? And the one of the previous owners was the guy burning the house. He's like, I don't want them having it. They're just going to steal it from me again. And that just reminded me of the Gutmans, because they're like, they wanted to watch that house burn.
Oh, yeah.
They were happy to see
That's
it.
the Gutman's grandfather.
Yeah.
Great-grandfather.
Some men just want to watch the world burn.
Some men want to watch the world burn. Yeah. But I thought it was cool because it was in New Hampshire also.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. That's why you said that.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Anyways,
the other thing that we did, the other thing I remember from our carpool up to North Carolina that summer, was we stayed. I think before camp we stayed a night in. I think it was a cabin from somebody from church that we knew, or maybe it was just some other cabin. I don't know, but I think we stayed in a cabin, and. Me, Johnny, and my brother Josh, we all slept in one room. And again, I don't remember the whole story. What I do remember is that we were being less than peaceful when it was time for bed, and my dad was not having it. He did not enjoy the noise we were making.
Did he burn the cabin down?
Yeah.
Just about.
Yeah. I remember him saying, he came and like banged on the door, and he's like, I don't want to hear another peep. If I hear anything else, I don't care who it is, I'm coming in and spanking them.
And then your mom said, Carrie.
Carrie.
Yes. Carrie.
You almost got spanked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
From then on, I was quiet.
That's right.
And you were peace.
Yeah.
And I'll be peace.
That was one of the quotes I wrote down. That was a good one. No, but yeah, it was. I don't know. You did look like you were fearing for your life.
Yeah,
a little bit.
I was like, okay.
Like, who is this guy that's gonna come and spank me? Oh man.
We're cool now. I just talked to him a few minutes ago.
That's right.
It's all good.
No spanks ever happened.
I like when the family pulls up to the store and Bill Murray just like looks over. It's like, oh, the fam.
Oh, the fam.
Yeah. He does that a couple times. He does it then, and when he calls him the first time on the phone, he's like, hey, Dr. M, how's the weather up there? How's the brood? You get some time to relax?
Time to relax?
Yeah, he always just makes like
he's a normal person.
He's a conversationalist. Like he just wants to talk to people. That's his problem. And he lives by himself. With
Where's
Gil.
his family?
He talks to Gil. Well, he does say he got divorced because his wife liked Neil Diamond.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in the very first scene
first
where
interview.
Yeah, the interview. He's like, there's there's two different kinds of people in this world: those who like Neil Diamond and those who don't. My ex-wife loves him.
What a weird thing.
I know.
I did think that the beginning like interview scene at his office in the city was like a really great way to open the movie.
Yeah.
Like I felt like it really like set the stage really well, and there was a lot of like really funny lines.
I thought the first scene was of him on the phone was like, all right, that's a little too much juxtaposition. You know,
I was trying to figure out at the very beginning. I couldn't really tell, but he was like, "See ya, Gil. I'm gonna go to work," and then he just goes and sits down at his desk, and I couldn't really tell like what his job was.
And he punches an actual
there's
time
like a
clock too. I
there's like a
noticed
time
that
clock.
on the second
He
watch. I
works
was like,
from
that's
home.
weird.
Yeah. All I could see was like he had this like big huge book like up on a thing, like he was like, I don't know what he was doing, if he was just reading it or I don't know, archiving it or something.
Must be a cartographer.
Maybe.
Yeah, and the very beginning of the movie is that it's Gil swimming around, and then the words come in and everything, and then it opens and he's like, "I feel good, I feel great, I feel wonderful, I feel good, I feel great, I feel wonderful." It's like, man, he looks pretty messed up.
Yeah. Kind of need those affirmations every morning. I should start doing that.
One thing I wanted to bring up with the interview scene at the beginning is whenever he first comes in and he sees the picture of the family, and it's like, oh wait.
Oh yeah, he has to guess all their names. That was I do that as a bit sometimes.
I'm very good at this. And then he just starts saying random names, and none of it is right.
Which, of course, you're not gonna get their names.
Yeah.
There's, I don't know, like millions of names.
Yeah.
So you're not gonna get them right.
It made me want to like do that more often. Just like, let me do this. I'm really good at this.
Janice. Did you know that the daughter was the teacher from Mighty Ducks 2?
Yeah.
That blew my mind.
That it's weird because
She plays a
she's
16-year-old.
Yeah, she's so
and then
young in this.
3 years later, she plays an adult, which I guess she would be an adult technically.
Yeah.
But
in my mind, as a kid, she was just a grown woman,
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess she was in like college or something.
Yeah, I mean, she drove in the movie, so she was at least 16.
At least 16.
Yeah.
In the
And she
movie.
sailed.
She did.
So does
I
Bob.
sail now.
I'm sailing.
I sailed on my first try. Trick was just to let the boat do most of the work.
That was a funny scene.
I don't know. I've never been on a boat, but if your friend is a seaworthy craftsman, then yeah, let's go sailing. You know what? Let's go sailing.
That was hilarious because he
My
just
lips, lips are getting.
The first thing
young.
he said was, "That makes my lips numb," and they started talking weird for that whole quote. If the craft is seaworthy,
The craft is 3 worthy. I sail now. I don't know if I had
He's
anxiety
fun.
about being on a boat like a sailboat. I wouldn't want to be strapped to the mast.
yeah, that seemed way more dangerous.
It's like
than just being
I'll
able
jump
to
out, no
yeah.
problem.
It starts to sink, and it's like,
But he was scared of water, right?
That's true, but
add that to the phobias list.
Yeah. Oh man.
I can't.
Yeah.
I will love the Muppets till the day I die, but I cannot do hand puppets like the Mr. Rogers ones. Those are so bad.
Yeah.
That's so cringe that he pulled him out in public. When
Oh, I know.
Oh no.
Yeah, and you just said a second ago, whenever she's saying, she says a couple things about Bob.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, your dad is that too. And then she goes, he's fun. And he says, your dad is kind of fun. He's like, oh, I know I'm not fun, actually. I can't even say it out loud with a straight face. But yeah, no, that's weird. That's real weird.
I feel like that too. That there's a scene later on when like they're all just like doing dishes together as a happy family, like singing in the rain, and then he's just off in the other room, just like staring at him, just like, when is he gonna leave?
Yeah, he walks up and starts talking really quietly. He's like, well, tomorrow's one of the biggest days of my life, and I probably need to get some sleep. So if you could wrap it up,
Don't want to be a party pooper.
You don't want to be a party pooper. Yeah.
I think it's time for Bob to go home. He can borrow my slicker.
Yeah.
What is a slicker?
It's his raincoat.
Yeah, raincoat.
Because it cuts the next scene. He's just like sitting in the living room with like the yellow classic raincoat, just like waiting to go home, waiting for the rain.
Yeah, he's out there on his porch looking at the rain, and Faye, his wife, comes out and she's like, "Sweetie, honey, it's almost 1 o'clock in the morning." He's like, "Shh, I think it's letting up." You know, it's not letting up.
I didn't realize it was called a slicker.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, do you also know galoshes? You know what galoshes are? They're rain boots.
Yeah, so like the chocolate stuff on a cake.
Yeah. I think. I didn't know when.
What is it?
I heard galoshes one time, and I didn't know what they were.
Oh,
And they're
like the
rain
little
boots.
pastry you get at a Texas donut shop that has like a sausage in it.
Yes.
Those are kolaches. Never mind.
Yes, galoshes.
Kolaches.
I just thought slicker and galoshes were weird things to call
One of those
a
Yankee
raincoat
terms.
and rain boots.
A galosh is something that sounds wet.
Yes.
I wouldn't trust a galosh to keep me dry.
That's just the words they use up there.
Or a slicker, really.
I've never been to New Hampshire or Boston in the fall.
Yep.
I like his some of the advice that doctor gives him, like in the movie. He's just like he's just trying to get rid of him, but he's like, "I'm writing you a prescription. Take a vacation from your problems." And it's just like this breakthrough for him.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he does that a couple times in the movie where he's like, "You can actually help me," and he did that in his office.
Yeah.
After he told him that his wife actually left him, he didn't leave his wife, and he's like,
Yeah.
"Ow, ow!" But then he's like, "You can help me." After that, but yeah, he does that a couple times. But that when he says that, tells him to take a vacation from his problems, writes him that prescription, and he starts walking away. You asked, or one of y'all said something about a creepy part of the movie, and what I think is creepy is that's the first time where they start playing the music where it's just like it's a woman going la la la. It's like coming in to. So you're gonna have to put that part of the movie right here. Because the soundtrack, or I don't know if it's the score or the soundtrack or what, but that at that point when he starts walking away, the music behind him is playing, and this woman starts just singing, but saying la 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 la. And
are you sure it wasn't your wife in the other room singing to herself?
Maybe it was. Maybe it was all of my
whole new level of
it sounded like it was echoing. Maybe it was all the my children also were just joining in, just singing. But it was very creepy. Yeah. To me, it sounded like it was going for a creepy vibe.
There was a couple moments where I noticed the music. I'll have to rewatch that scene. I feel like that was there.
You just got to take my word for it.
We will. I'm not renting it again. That's for sure.
Pull it up now.
Actually, I have
48
it
hours.
for 30. I have it for 30 days.
Oh, there you go.
Amazon's
all right,
good
pull
like
it up
that.
right now. Let's play it into the microphone. Let's do this right here.
Oh, I mean, I could do it if you.
Let's do it.
I mean, yeah, we kind of need that.
Okay.
It'll be easier than me trying to find it.
Yeah. All right.
There are a lot of moments in this movie where it's like you're just waiting for it to take that creepy turn.
Yeah.
Like where
okay.
You see these scenes where like Bob is like he's getting too friendly, he's obsessed with them, he's like stalking them, and you're waiting for him to turn evil. And what this movie does is like it turns that idea on its head. Yeah. And it's actually the family's like the patriarch. Like,
I'm genuinely concerned about
mad.
Bob at the beginning.
Yeah.
Like for the family's safety at first. Like I'm kind of.
And then that just completely flips by the end.
Yeah.
And it's Dr. Leo Marvin.
Dr. Leo Marvin?
It's almost like that new movie. And there's like, I guess it's a type of movie that comes out every once in a while. It's like a cabin in the woods. And there's like this family. There's a new movie out like right now with James McAvoy. Have you seen that?
Oh, yeah.
Trailer?
Yeah.
What's it called? Blah, 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 blah.
I think I found it.
I knew coming up here was the right thing to do.
It feels right because you're here.
it feels right because you're leaving. Have a great vacation. You too, Bob.
Oh yeah.
La, la, la.
Vacation from my problems.
It's kind of
Yeah,
faint,
I will.
but
Yeah.
it sounds creepy.
There you go. Baby steps.
Yeah, that could. Yeah, that's a little carnival music too.
Yeah.
Vacation from my problems. Okay, yeah. I think when I was listening to that, it's kind of like it almost sounds like it's a setting like on a keyboard or something like that.
Yeah.
That sounds like a person,
Yes.
like when they're hitting the keys. But it's like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that
Yeah.
does. That
And it
does
kind of
kinda
blends
sounds-
into the background there.
It does sound kind of creepy. I'll give you that.
Okay, so the movie series I was talking about, that Hear No Evil and Speak No Evil movie.
Oh yeah.
It's like they're in a cabin in the woods with another couple or another family, and it turns out like one of the other families like murderers, but like also creepy, scary, and they're just like, oh, why would y'all leave right now? And he just stares them down. Like a lot of that trailer is the same vibe as all of this movie.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
It's always the ones that are a little too friendly. You know? I don't have that problem myself.
Yeah, people just think you don't
I've-
talk.
Gil,
Oh, wait, was that
I
before the
forgot
podcast? I don't remember.
I missed what you said.
I just said people just think you don't talk.
Oh,
but then
yeah.
I was like, well, I think that was a conversation we had before the podcast.
Yeah. You think he's gone? He's never gone. You see?
Is this some kind of radical new therapy?
Radical new therapy.
I
wonder if the writer has been in like therapy. I feel like it is like being able to like name drop like these like medications and stuff
Yeah.
like that and different types of therapy. I'd be curious.
when he prescribed he prescribed, he changed the doctor's mind
Yeah.
to give him his prescription. It's like,
Yeah.
I would know. Wouldn't you think, whatever this, wouldn't you
Yeah.
think this medicine would
Yeah.
work better? You know what? I'll change the prescription. That works. That's crazy.
That wouldn't
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah, a patient.
Yeah, exactly.
That doctor must have been on vacation too.
Classic narcissist.
Yeah. One of the quotes that I saw when I watched it with subtitles that I didn't know was there.
Okay.
And it has nothing. It's. I mean, it doesn't have anything to do with the movie at all. It's just funny. At the very beginning, when he's walking out of his apartment or whatever, he opens the door and all of a sudden they make a lot of like there's a bunch of you hear all the noise going on outside.
Yeah.
And the first thing that popped up on the subtitles was, "Don't ask me, she's your mother." I was like, what? So I rewound it, and it was just some, it was just background noise, but it wrote it in the subtitles, so I saw it, and I was like, what?
Don't ask me.
Don't ask me,
The
she's your
extras are
mother.
getting some subtitle credit.
I thought that was funny. And the other thing that I saw in subtitles that I couldn't even tell because in the movie I couldn't tell who was talking, but it looked like to me one of my favorite parts of the movie is whenever he helps Ziggy dive, and
Yeah.
obviously he'd been trying.
Ziggy?
Bob, yeah,
Siggy.
Siggy, sorry,
Siggy.
Siggy. Bob helps Siggy dive, and that's what Dr. Marvin had been trying to do for so long.
Bob helped Ziggy dive in Bob Marley One Love movie that just came out.
And so then he dives, and the whole family's excited, and you can tell that Dr. Marvin's not happy about it. And he's like speed walking out there. "I'll take it from here, Bob."
That's
And then
my
he just,
moment.
he just like pushes him straight off the dock. He lands head first in the water. And then right after that, he's trying to swim. He's got his hands over his head. They're trying to reach up for them to kicking his legs for them to try to grab him. And the whole family's trying to get him out except for Dr. Marvin. And it looked like they're all yelling and screaming, and so you can't hear everything that they're all saying. But one of the things the subtitle says is, "Help, he's over here." And it looks like it's Dr. Marvin saying that sarcastically because he he goes under the dock.
Yeah.
And it looks like he goes, "Oh, help! He's over here!" Like, look over here. Well, I couldn't tell for sure if that was him or if that was somebody else talking because everybody was talking at the same time. But it was just weird. It was funny.
No, yeah.
When and then the Gutmans are there to see the whole thing. And actually, I thought that's what you were going for when you're talking about Liberty Kids.
Yeah.
Because you're talking about how they were like just happened to be there at all these like historical events over history. That's the Gutmans too in this movie because that's everything that goes wrong. Like they're just witnessing his downfall the whole movie.
Well, Frank Oz did do Liberty Kids.
Well,
just kidding. No, he didn't.
That's why he had puppets in the movie because he is a Muppet. Did you think about that?
Ew, the wrong kind of puppets. Those weren't Muppets.
Yeah, the puppets, not Muppets.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Okay, so whenever they're tucking, when he spends the night with them and they're tucking him in and they make him sleep with their son, like
That's
their
weird.
9-year-old. That's
really weird.
Yeah.
That's some valid concerns from the dad for sure. Anyways, whenever she's like tucking in the Siggy, and then she makes the bed for Bob, and he jumps in head first. That was improvised, so you can see her cracking up on screen from that.
That was a weird scene overall. You know, you said earlier, whenever he comes in, he's mad. And he's like, I'll be quiet. I'll be peace. You know, right after that, whenever she's tucking them in, and Bob does that head first dive in. After that, I didn't notice this before, but when I was watching it this time, Siggy goes, "Mom, Bob gave me a better thing to be scared of than death."
Yes. Oh.
And she's like, "That's nice, sweetie."
Asks 0 questions.
Yeah.
That's
like,
crazy.
Because
Tourettes.
Yes, right. Yeah, yeah, Tourette's. But I mean, Siggy's a funny character. I think he's one of my favorite characters because he's so dramatic. He's a little kid, but he's thinking about death all the time. And
well, if you had a psychiatrist as a dad, you'd be well versed.
That's probably true. He said, what did he say? He said, whenever he's trying, when Dr. Marvin's trying to help him dive, and he is walking away because he
there are enough problems in the world.
He's like, with all the horror that's going on in the world, what difference does it make if I dive or not?
I feel like that is a common trope and stuff of like parents trying to connect to one of their kids, and like one of the kids is going through a phase of like wearing black all the time or something like that, or obsessing about death. Well, what's with all the black? Yeah. I was thinking about I remember like seeing online you could buy like movie t-shirts, and it was like the "What About Bob" shirt, like the "Don't hassle me, I'm local." And I was like, oh man, I would like to get that shirt.
That's good.
And then like take it one step further, and it's like, I think I want to dress up as Bob for Halloween this year. And just like get like the jar with the goldfish around my neck and everything, and get the shirt and
gotta get the frizzy crazy hair.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I probably have more of the Dr. Marvin look though, but I feel
you
like
definitely do. Yeah.
I was noticing his fit in this movie, and that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
The white shorts and the socks,
like a sailor.
The white shoes and the bucket hat,
like the admiral look. Yeah.
I was thinking about that when y'all have been doing like the prop.
The prop of the week.
Prop of the week for the movie, and the one I thought of for this one was definitely that shirt. I mean, that would be a great prop. With I also said runner up would be like maybe the Baby Steps book itself.
Yeah,
like
the book
that would be
like
good.
having on your
we
bookshelf
tend to
or
keep.
something.
Well, I guess prop can be costume, part of the costume.
The other prop I considered was a jar with a goldfish in it around with a string tied to it.
That's what I was thinking.
I thought that would be a good one too.
That's pretty solid.
But yeah, I mean, I guess there's other ones that it could be, but I definitely want to get that shirt.
The shirt, the book,
Don't hassle me.
the necklace with the goldfish. I think those
Honestly,
are the top
kind of a
3.
life jacket in general. Just a
yeah,
generic
no,
life
yeah, I
jacket.
think that would be good too. A life jacket.
What's the food? Oh wait.
I mean, it was just that like dinner scene. I feel like.
Yeah.
At the end, he's like bringing out the cake after he does the death therapy scene.
Yeah.
Right?
No, yeah,
Yeah.
that's good.
For he's a jolly good man. I don't know what else is there.
Well, on the food subject, whether this is a good looking food or not, Bob thought it was a good looking food. The corn,
yeah.
it was weird that two reasons I thought this didn't make sense and was weird. He's like, Faye, is this corn hand shucked?
Hand shucked. Yes.
Like that's just a weird word.
Why, thank you, Bob. Yes,
First
it
of all.
is.
And I
You
thought,
can taste that.
yeah. First of all, I was like, what does that have to do with how it tastes?
You probably
at
could
all?
taste it. There's probably a lot more of cob
Yeah,
essence in the.
But also, how else would you shuck a corn without your hands? Like, do you
There's
use your feet?
machines.
Or, I mean, how else?
I guess you could
Would
buy
you prepare it?
corn already shucked.
That's true. Pre-shucked corn, if you will.
Pre-shucked. Yeah.
And she did it on her own. She did the hard work herself.
Hand shucked. That's a good one. I'll probably go corn too. Yeah. Or Gil, because he threatened to eat him, fatten him up and eat him.
He sure did.
Except I think goldfish are nasty. So
Yeah. Dr. Marvin wanted the chicken breast apparently because when she offered him more chicken, he took the breast and then he's like, oh, Leo, do you want the breast? And Faye's like, no, no, it's yours.
We haven't talked about the mom that much, but I do really like her in this movie. She's like the perfect character for this. Just to be that very like soft-spoken wife.
Yes.
Like compared to him, like I don't know.
Yeah.
She's just like too nice.
The typical, really nice, motherly.
Like
Puts
the family,
up-
like you'd want to be
puts
friends
up with way too
and
much.
go over to your friend's house.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like she's always really nice to you. She always makes sure. Are you thirsty? Do you want a snack? that just sounds like something that she would do.
No thanks, I'm full. Oh man.
I got so excited I forgot to take you with me.
Gil.
Gil.
Oh, the fish! He's like, yeah, I don't want him to be back here. How can I get him out here as soon as I can? Oh, just the fish. Let me give you the fish.
Okay, that does remind me of another segment we like to start here soon. Since we recently covered the Muppets, we like to obviously recast the Muppets in every movie that we like. So, which character would you replace a Muppet in this movie, and which Muppet would it be? And Jonathan, do you have a Muppet we can find?
Well, I feel like Sam the Eagle would be the Dr. Leo Marvin. But I don't know.
You know, I don't know all of the Muppets, like, all their names, and they're not a huge, like, I don't have a big knowledge base of Muppets, but I will say that I wrote this person down, and I didn't know her name until I watched it with subtitles. But it's the bus driver who lets him on, and she's like, "Come on, Bob." She has a weird voice that sounds kind of like nasally, or
Come on, Bob.
yeah, like, "Come on, Bob. Can we do this today?"
I really related
Bob?
to that scene actually, because I've totally psyched myself out before going into something like a group of people. I'm like, and just acting like you're moving on.
Yeah. Yeah. But I feel like I don't know which Muppet, but I feel like she could be a
That's
Muppet.
a classic Muppet scene.
Oh, her name is Wing, by the way.
Wing?
Yeah.
Wing.
He said because it seemed like they had cross paths Bob and Wing at some point before, because she acted like she
I
knew
like
him,
that, yeah.
and he said something and said Wing, like responded to her and said Wing, and I was like, oh, Okay, her name's Wing.
Mhm.
And I don't know. I feel like she could be a Muppet.
Yeah.
I think the perfect substitution is to keep. We just have one Muppet. Well, we can keep Bill Murray. He would work great with the Muppets.
Yeah.
But we can also keep Richard Dreyfus in his role.
Okay.
We replace the
Gutman's.
We replace the Gutmans with Statler and Wardoff.
Yeah. Perfect.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that is.
Yeah.
Because they're always just watching, doing like from the background.
We wish we had that house.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
Anyways,
I think the Gutmans might be
Good.
my favorite
They're good.
part of my favorite characters.
they
in
kind of
the
steal
movie.
the scene.
No, one thing that I saw when he goes to, so when Leo takes him and drops him off at that, I don't know what it was, like an insane asylum, it seemed
Yeah.
like.
Oh yeah.
Why don't you check in here for
yeah,
a little bit? It can
yeah.
really do you some good.
And she calls him back because he's clearly a normal guy.
Yeah.
You know, Bob is. And he's just
Yeah.
like sitting there, like the whole
Chatting up
staff
the-
is just, you know, like just sitting there listening to his every word,
Yeah.
you know? And there's
Captivated.
Yeah, they're captivated. I think he's hilarious. And there's one thing that I did not understand when he said it when I was a kid, which was he says that poem. He's saying whatever, and he says, you know, and that reminds me of my favorite poem. Roses are red, violets are blue. I'm a schizophrenic, and so am I.
am I.
I didn't understand that when I was a kid, but when I watched it this time, I was like, that's funny. I like that poem.
Yeah.
I noticed. I thought it was like a little detail, maybe in the script. I guess whenever like he shows up, and like this is like a friend of his or something that is like doing him a favor, and when she walks up, she's like, "Oh, sorry, I didn't get to see your interview this morning," you know, and so that shows like she didn't get to see like Bob at all.
Oh yeah.
Like if she
Yeah.
had seen the interview, she may have been like, "He seems normal." I don't know. Like,
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah.
but so
I
then
never
like
thought about
so
that.
she like takes him in and she's like, I can only hold him for so long, and then like I was confused by the timing of all that, but it seems like within an hour or so he's like charmed the entire staff. So
Yeah,
Hey, wasn't
The-
that
by the
Bob
time he
guy
gets
on
home,
TV?
by the time he gets home, it's like you need to come get him.
yeah, yeah.
I also like the only thing that could like make things any worse is like him not being diagnosed with anything and just being considered normal by
Yeah.
everyone and being accepted by his family, but then like marrying his sister.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Which I just like crack up like when they first meet at the party and she's like
Yeah.
leaving and he's just like kind of like giving her a look, and I don't know, you can tell he's just like really bashful around her.
Yeah. What's her name?
Lily.
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 Oh man.
This party's for you, Doctor Marvin.
It's all for you.
It's all for you.
We're all here for you.
I like that part because it does a classic movie thing where they just throw a dummy or slowly
Mhm.
Yeah.
in the
Right.
middle of the air. It's like slow motion. It's
Yeah.
just a stiff body going.
Diving to
I love
tackle him.
that. Oh.
And he's like just comes back and he's like covered in mud. He's
Yeah.
like, had a terrible day, and like that'd be awful. Come back for a
Surprise.
surprise party and you look like that. It's like they put the spotlight on him and they're like, ooh. That the actress that played his sister, her name's Fran Brill,
Mhm.
and she's actually like a longtime Muppet performer, and she
No
like worked on
way.
like Sesame Street. Like she doesn't really do a lot of acting,
Yeah.
but
Or
I guess
she-
because
she
she knew
knew
Frank
Frank.
Oz,
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I thought that was a cool fact.
The one of the other things that was funny was during the whole interview with Good Morning America was funny.
Mhm.
But he says he's talking about his book, and then she's like, "Oh, he's only been your patient for 3 or 4 days," and he's like, "Oh no, the book's not really meant to work that quickly. It only worked that quickly with Boob." Bob.
You can call
And
me
then-
Boob if
yeah,
you
he's
want.
like, you can call me Boob.
I do not want to call you Boob, Bob.
Oh man. And the interview lady, she just looks at him when he says that, and she's like, Like, it looks like she's about to say boob, like question mark. I mean, Bob.
I was thinking about this movie has that scene with the Good Morning America interview, and like Cheaper by the Dozen also has that scene
You're
where they're
so
gonna
right.
like
This is the same vibe.
they're gonna interview, and like both of them kind of have the same consequence of like it shows like the author really doesn't have everything together at home,
Yeah.
like they're showing like in their book and stuff. So
Yeah.
that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
This movie just didn't have Dax Shepard as a cameraman.
Oh wow.
Well, he says that. Leo says that in the movie. He's like, I'm about to go in front of the country and about as a behavioral specialist, and within the last hour, both my kids told me that they hate me.
Yeah.
Maybe you should. Maybe that's your fault.
Focus on them and not Bob.
Shows a little bit of awareness.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot. There was at the beginning, whenever he gets the call thinking that like Bob committed suicide.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, he tells his
Oh,
wife.
let's not
and he's just
let it
like,
ruin the night.
He's like, oh, that patient that just called, he's died, Well, let's not let it ruin the evening.
Yeah.
And he's got the clapper.
And the clap lights, yeah.
Turns the lights
Oh, what a 90s movie.
I know, that's what I was thinking. And I was thinking, because you said something recently in a podcast about or something about 80s movies. Don't,
Yeah, the 80s
like, you're
movie
uncomfortable. Like, you give
Yeah.
you the ick. And I was like, this was very close.
It's very 80s.
I mean, it is a 90s movie technically because in
Yeah.
the 90s, and also all the things I see in it remind me of the 90s. So I think it feels like a 90s movie, but it was just really close to me. Like, 91, it was close.
Well, it's such an iconic movie with Bill Murray in it, so I guess there were parts where I was like, oh, this is pretty rough. But it is a great movie.
He had a couple of kind of back to back. He did, I think, right after this, he did Groundhog Day. It's another fun one.
Oh, yeah,
Ned Ryerson.
I've never seen that movie.
Yeah.
But when I was looking up, I was trying to research what about Bob, and stuff about Groundhog Day kept on coming up. Like videos that would like have them. If I watch a video about what about Bob, then a video about Groundhog Day would come up.
Yeah.
I'd never seen that, but I watched the trailer for it.
You should
It's a
watch it
classic.
next Groundhog Day.
All right,
As a tradition.
on Groundhog Day.
Watch it as many times as you need.
That's a Groundhog Day movie.
That's
This
one?
What About Bob's a Labor Day movie.
You there really isn't that many Labor Day movies.
Yeah.
And I'm glad we watched it around Labor Day.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
It's
Perfect
kinda,
timing.
Yeah.
It's kind of worked out that way.
Well, what other notes you got? What else you want to?
I mean, really the only other quote I wrote down, I think we hit most of those other ones, was the whole scene near the end where he decided like he's going to kill him now.
That was where the movie took a
Yeah, it takes a turn there.
He's literally actually willing to kill this man.
And he breaks into that shop. And he's like trying to decide how he's gonna kill him. He's like, oh, the gun, like that's too messy. And then the bow and arrow.
Powder?
We came down to the black powder, and that was like, this is perfect. I assume because I don't know, he'll be disintegrated. There's no evidence. I don't know what he was
Too
thinking.
much evidence.
Yeah. But like that, that whole he's definitely has fully swapped places at that point. Him and Bob. Yeah. He's the crazy one. But
I don't even think Bob was ever that crazy.
No, he
really kill someone.
Although his
impersonate a private eye, but
his old psychiatrist thought he was.
Really?
I don't know if he thought he was crazy or he just was annoyed with him,
and that's why. Tired of him.
Yeah,
free.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He probably. I bet his psychiatrist had to like fake his own death or something so that he wouldn't like follow
him. The psychiatrist was just trying to go on vacation.
Yeah, he's like, Leo, when they were finishing up that conversation with that old psychiatrist, he's like, "Why are you quitting the practice?" He's like, "We're a dying breed, Leo.
It's time to move on," or something like that. It's time to accept it.
But it's just one of the words in this quote that I thought was funny. At the end, he's Bob's kind of realizing he's 100% trusting. Even though
everything he says,
he walks him with his rifle down
Yeah.
you know, ties him up, and he's still just like happy. Bob's was happy. He's like, oh, is this therapy? You know, whatever. And then he kind of, once he ties him up and puts the bags of you know, the bomb or the powder on him, he's starting to be like, oh, I'm not sure, I'm not fully trusting. And
no, this makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. Baby steps, untie your knots. Because I'm roped up. I'm tying myself up with all my problems. Just untie yourself.
Yeah.
Or else the things that are constricting you will kill you.
That's it.
And then
But so like even before that part right there, he's like questioning him, and he's like, Leo is telling him, you know, like, I have no other choice. You just won't leave. You won't go
No,
away.
I'll leave.
And he's like, yeah, I'll leave. And he's like, no, you won't. You will, but then you'll come back. And he says, but then after I don't kill you, you'll show up again, and you'll do something else to make everyone in my life think you're wonderful and I'm a schmuck.
Yeah.
But I'm not a schmuck, Bob.
I'm not a schmuck, Bob.
Oh man, but yeah, he's full crazy by that point.
So crazy.
See, with those events there, like they kind of make the joke at the end of like Bob went on to write a death therapy book or whatever.
Yeah.
And, it becomes a
And then he
bestseller,
sued
and he's
him.
suing him. But like, it almost makes you seem like things just go back to normal after like the doctor like speaks up at the wedding.
Dad's back, dude. If I'm sorry, that breaks up a family if you're willing to kill someone.
How do you go on like
Yeah.
they don't know, I guess, but at the same time a house
They should know.
yeah, they should know. The house blew up,
They have to figure it out.
so like
He has to have an explanation. For
What'd you
that.
do with
Someone's
that
gotta go to
bag that I
prison.
put around your neck?
Yeah, and what
What's in the
about
house?
yeah, how do you explain that?
what about the store that he stole it from? He broke in there.
Yeah.
They're going to find out that somebody broke in and took that black powder.
No, they definitely have to know he tried
I mean-
to kill him.
Yeah.
But it just kind of makes it like, oh, things have gone back to normal, and he's just gonna have to put up with them the rest of his life, which is fine. It's a comedy.
True. Yeah.
Is it?
Relax. It's called dark humor.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. So sometimes y'all say, you know,
Mm.
lessons learned. Like what lessons are learned here? And when I was thinking about that, I was thinking, who's really the bad guy? I don't know, because the
Yeah.
movie makes Leo, the Dr. Leo Marvin, to be the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, was he just the rational person that was annoyed, and Bob was really the actual
Yeah.
the antagonist?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. Who was it?
I don't know. I feel like my lesson learned is to set professional boundaries, for sure. Because if not, they'll drive you crazy.
I feel like he tried to.
I did feel like he was very,
failed.
very firm and very clear in his
Yeah.
communication of like, this is very inappropriate.
Yeah,
you know.
he said that multiple times.
And,
But
and,
after a
like,
while,
he wouldn't
just
even listen. He just hang
accept
up.
him.
You know, call me back afterwards, and it's done. But he just kept showing up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there was a progression. The first time he's like, "This is inappropriate, Bob," and then the next time he's like, "Yeah, this is very inappropriate, Bob."
Yeah.
And then he's like, "This is unbelievably inappropriate, Bob." You know, every time that another
Yeah.
step happens to where, you know, he
And
just tries to call him first, and
Yeah.
then he tries to fake his death, and then he
Yeah.
also, in addition to faking his death, then shows up where he is, like finds him. He's like,
Yeah.
this is-
And the family isn't phased at all. Every time
Yeah.
he shows up, it's just like, oh, he's
Let me
back.
take care of your
Hey,
fish.
Bob.
yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it's a little bit of both, I guess, in reality. But I guess you have to go with Richard Dreyfus as the actual villain, because he was the one. He was truly the narcissist in all the
Yeah.
comments he makes throughout the movie and stuff,
Yeah.
which was really funny. But
From
you
like
kind of see
charging him $29.95 for
Yes.
a book.
Yeah.
bill him the usual rate and $29.95 for the book. But yeah, I think there's kind of I don't know, I guess you could take it a few different ways. You could almost feel like all this therapy stuff it's all just a bunch of hogwash, Like
Yeah.
it's just this, it's like whatever you say, it's just I don't know. He's just coming up with like random stuff to get him to go away, and it's like working for him. You
Yeah.
know, it's like it's all. There's a line in the movie. It's like some people say the best therapist is yourself.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the moral. I don't know.
This would not. This would have been a great episode to be sponsored by BetterHelp.
BetterHelp. If you're struggling, how long you been struggling with it? I do think there is this idea about like rumination, about like you constantly think about your problems can just make you more depressed and make your situation even worse. And so like to give you that advice, like take a vacation from your problems, kind of breaks that cycle. So maybe that's the lesson.
Take a vacation from your problems.
I mean, I did think that was good advice.
That is sometimes you just need to go to bed.
Yeah, just take a nap.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need to go on vacation to Lake Winnipesaukee, New Hampshire.
So when I was
I would love that.
I was listening to, I found, I guess, the score on YouTube, and I just wanted to listen to it. And I realized that people had commented on it, so I was reading some of the comments, and somebody wrote down there, they wrote DDWDLMWD, which was the version of
I don't know.
WWJD. Opposite, which was don't do what Dr. Leo Marvin would do. That's somebody wrote that down there, and they wrote it in parentheses. Don't do what Dr. Leo Marvin would do. And then that sparked quite a conversation in the comments about people being on Bob's side and people being on Dr. Marvin's side.
It's a
where
good
it's
one,
like, who's really the bad guy?
Funny.
And they're like
He
they're-
was
they're
so
both-
valid until he decided to murder him.
Exactly, yeah.
Like I was on his side the whole time,
Yeah.
obviously, until he went crazy. And after a while,
Yeah.
once he like came over for dinner, I was like, all right, well, this is kind of a funny thing that happened. I would have been like, yeah, you just went on vacation with us, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, man.
But yeah, that's wild. I would genuinely hate that for a long.
So yeah, I had one quote that I really liked when it was one of the times Bob came over to the house and was leaving, and he talks to Siggy, and he like notices his fish, and he's like, oh, is he a city fish? And he's like, no. Or no, what does he say? What
Did you get that fish from the lake?
Yeah, did you get that
Like,
fish from the lake?
No,
He's like,
it was
he's
a city fish.
But he's loving it up here.
He was loving it up here. That's one of the things where he's just
I
like
like that.
really good at conversation.
Yeah.
And that's like
Yeah.
a normal glimpse of him.
Yeah.
You go on vacation somewhere and you just like start talking like the people there, It's like, he's loving it up here.
He's just loving it up.
Well,
I have one trivia question.
all right, let's go for it.
Johnny or Jeremy.
Trivia question. We're getting quizzed.
Can you spell Winnipesaukee?
Oh, they
Lake
spelled it in the movie, right?
Winnipesaukee, they did, yeah.
WINEPISS.
Yeah.
I don't
All
know.
three of those ladies
AKE.
are trying to tell him how to spell it at the same time.
And then he's just like, got it.
Got it.
It is WINNIPESAUKEE. Winnipesaukee.
Very good. I wrote it down in my notes, like phonetically how you would say it, so that I would remember how. Winnipesaukee.
Yeah, well, when she says it one time in the movie, she's like, Winnipesaukee. It's weird. Like she adds a syllable in front of it. It's like
Winnipesaukee.
Winnipesaukee.
Well, should we go on to our letterbox reviews for What About Bob?
Yeah.
Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. I'm giving it a 3.5.
3.5?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's lower than I expected it to be. I want to give it a 4. But you'll have to convince me to change it to a 4 because I really want to.
Well, I did give it a 4.
Okay, I'll give it a 4.
There you go.
But I gave it a 4 too.
I've
4?
genuinely
Okay.
changed it from 3.5 to 4 and back this whole time we've been recording. I've been doing it every time like something gets brought up. Like, oh yeah, that's a 4 movie.
There's so many funny moments, and I think it's not too long. Like it is a fairly short movie, but it does have some like pacing where like By the time you're getting to the end, it kind of feels like, okay, we should be wrapping up a little bit.
I kind of getting tired of him complaining that Bob's there.
Yeah.
Like that's why. It's kind of great.
But it kind of like once he like fully goes crazy, like, okay, I'm back in.
Yeah.
So it is good.
Yeah.
And it's got a lot of clever lines and writing and got some good quotes.
Oh, definitely.
It's got a great scenic like area that you'd like want to go on vacation. So yeah, I think it holds up as a pretty solid 4 out of 5 for me.
Yeah, my thinking is slightly different just because I would probably just say 5 out of 5.
Yeah.
Because I love this movie.
Yeah.
But try to be realistic, you know. So I thought, yeah, maybe we can do 4 because, I mean, I really like it, and I feel like there's some legitimate good things in the movie. But I just felt like I should not give it a 5 because I'm trying to be like y'all. Trying to, you know.
Hey, we get
try
5s all the time.
Try to be
I gave
Earned or
Muppets
not.
Treasure Island a 5.
yeah. But yeah, at 4. I think 4.
Sometimes it's
good.
like, you know,
I like it.
you got to be realistic. I think I watched this with a group a year or 2 ago, and I could tell like half the group was in on it and half the group was like not that into it.
Well,
I feel like this is kind of has that effect on
This is
people.
one of those movies that cannot be made today. You can't really make fun of people with mental health issues today. And
That's
I feel like
true.
those people were like, "Oh, this is
At the same time,
crazy."
I feel like it's funnier than ever.
It
For,
is.
like, for
Yeah,
people
it kind of
like,
Exactly.
is.
like, yeah, because more people can like relate to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, this was a great pick. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Thanks for being a patron. Thanks for being part of the Staple Crew.
Oh, yeah.
It's
I
our
know that was
official
the
name
That's
now.
what we're.
Staple Crew.
That's what we're
Staple
calling
Crew,
it.
I like it.
because you helped the show go on, and that's what the crew does. But also, since we've done Pirate Month just now, it's like the Staple Crew.
True. That's true.
Yeah. Let me just say this to everyone who's listening right now. I need you, me personally, I need you to become a patron of Inside Quotes. Just go on there. $3. I mean, that you can find that in your sock drawer probably. And mainly,
We'll even take 3 socks, really.
I was promised an exclusive merch item whenever 10 people sign up for this, and I'm waiting for my exclusive merch item. And I want you to sign up so I can get my merch item.
And just for that announcement, we'll go ahead and make it the first 10 people to become patrons. We'll get their exclusive merch item. So we will send that to you. We've been holding it hostage, basically.
But y'all should still do it.
Should.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Here.
Thank you. I agree.
I did forget to mention, this does have one of those moments where the title of the movie is said in the movie.
Yeah.
You know, where he's like driving off and like the
Oh.
wife is just like, but what about Bob?
Yes.
What about
That is
Bob?
a good.
I one of my notes that I missed apparently. I like it when movies say the title of the movie
Yeah.
in them, and they say it there, and they also say it.
There's another one, yeah.
Whenever, and this is another thing I was gonna say that I didn't say. Whenever they are after he pushes him in the lake, which is my favorite part. Then he's in the shower, you know, and I guess he's the outdoor shower, and they're sitting a couple, you know, feet away from him, talking about, you know, why he's so mad at him and he's being so mean to him. And they're like, he's like, I'm not often wrong, but when I do, I will admit it, and so I'm sorry. And they're like, you need to apologize to Bob. He's like, I will not apologize to Bob. And then they all really wanted to apologize to Bob. And he's like, okay, fine, I'll apologize to Bob. And he looks over at him, and Bob's watching this whole thing, and you're showing his facial expressions while it's going on. And he looks at him, and he's like, we can't see this on. He makes a face at
Audio
Bob.
only.
He gestures at him.
Yeah, he
To our
gestures
video
at him,
listeners.
and then Bob gestures back with his hands, like, "Yeah, okay, yeah, like,
We're good. We're good.
we're good." But that was the other thing. But what was the first thing that I was talking about? Why was I
What
saying?
about Bob?
Oh, saying what about Bob? Yeah, they said it whenever they said you need to apologize.
Yeah.
He's like, he apologized to them. He's like, what about Bob?
Yeah.
You need to apologize to him. That was the other time they said, what about Bob in the movie? At least that I noticed. Maybe there was more. Good movie. I like it.
Great movie.
Solid staple.
Staple. Okay.
Another day, another staple. Well, everyone, our only question left is, what's your inside quote for this movie? Let us know on Instagram at InsideQuotesCast.
And if you leave us a 5-star review, Caleb, what are we going to give the audience?
We will ship you a copy of Baby Steps by Dr. Leo Marvin, and we'll waive the $29.95 fee. Free of charge and free shipping.
I love it. It's done wonders for me. It doesn't usually work that quickly. I just want you to know that.
Only with Boo. Bob.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We hope you enjoyed revisiting our childhood staples just as much as we did. Don't forget to follow us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify so you don't miss out on a future episode.
And if you like the show, share it with your friends. And join us on Patreon.
Until next week, baby steps, untie your ropes.
On Inside
On
Quotes.
Inside Quotes.
Is this a fake hang up?
This is a fake
This is a fake
hang-up.
hang up.
Yeah.